I guess a couple questions real quick, Coach. First of all, just seeing if all your transfers and newcomers have enrolled and are here. And it may have been a coincidence the way it fell, but I think outside of one guy, all your transfers were P6 guys and have that experience at that level. Was that kind of a mindset going in, or is that just the way it happened?
To answer your first question, we still got a couple guys that had some personal conflicts that didn't allow them to be here the first day, but they're trickling in and expect them to be here by the end of the week, so we'll be fine that way. In terms of our approach to the spring recruiting, particularly the portal, we didn't have, hey, we're only gonna sign or recruit, guys that have experience at that level. Certainly it weighs in on when you're making decisions on, who you're trying to go after. I think it's a little bit easier at times to evaluate those prospects because of the obvious of who they're playing against and with, and the competition level. You don't have to think about that quite as much, so maybe it makes it a little bit easier that way. But I know your confidence level, I think when you sign someone at that level is higher, that it will translate to your particular program.
Danny Pita coaches, right?
Coach, just talking about Josh Hubbard, coming off that great freshman season that he had, just your visions, off season of him, how he's attacked it so far, and how much of a jump do you think he can make from freshman to sophomore, even though he's already been really good?
Yeah, I think a smile broke out on my face when you brought his name up. It's fun to talk about Josh. If you think about it, we haven't been on the floor with our guys a week before finals, so you're talking the end of April till yesterday. So what they've done from the end of April till June 4th, that's quite a few days, obviously 30-some days, and certainly every coach in America gives them an exit speech of, hey, stay in your game, keep working. Some take it to heart, some don't. I'm 100% confident, even though I don't know, because I'm not there with him, that Josh has continued to work on his game, strengthen his weaknesses, spend time like he has for the majority of his life in trying to prepare himself for the season and get better and just have that mentality. For me, and I've said this before, the jump that I want him to make is more from a leadership capacity. Josh has respect in the locker room. You can tell just by watching how his teammates treat him, communicate with him, even if it's us coaches every day or you media folks that watch us play, or a fan. I mean, if you're paying attention, he had respect from his teammates, and I thought it was pretty remarkable how he came in as a true freshman and had the kind of year individually and the impact that he had, but in a way that the team and the returnees put their arms around him and accepted him, and he did it with such modesty and humbleness that that's why it worked the way it did. But going forward, for us to be as good as I think we all want to be, the ask of him is going to be more from a verbal leadership role rather than just by example all the time, and he's going to have to find his voice even more. And in this day and age, in my opinion, it's hard to do. The guys are a little more politically correct with one another, and and it's cool because they get along well, and there's not as many maybe issues when it comes to competitive things, or maybe there used to be. But if you can get some guys to kind of step up a little bit, and he's the perfect candidate, with his stature on the team, with his game, with his work ethic. And so we've already had some talks about it, but we're going to have more as we get deeper into preparing for the season.
Justin, second row middle, then we'll come back over to Steph.
Chris, with the transfer portal guard additions, what do you just like about bringing in Kanye, Riley, Claudel, RJ, and sort of what do you feel like the challenges are getting all those guys working together and trying to, mix and match all of it with Josh once he gets time for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a challenge June 5th. That's a question that probably better served when we get to, November and the games start unfolding. I've been doing this long enough to know that, good or bad, a lot of things are gonna happen between now and then. And, I'm not concerned about that at all. Everybody's eyes are wide open when they're going through these processes of recruiting for their individual futures. And we're very transparent with our guys in the process as well. It's not like, we're trying to hide anything, or we share exactly what our roster looks like at that particular point in time. And so again, everybody's understands that, if you want to win, you got to have other good players around you. There's no utopia out there. And everybody wants to win, everybody wants to play. So to find guys that are willing to join forces in this day and age, knowing that there's competition around them can be a challenge at times. But we feel really good right now. I think most coaches probably do. At this point, in the summer of where we're at and the type of guys that we have, in our locker room, on our practice floor. But there's a lot, obviously, of time that will happen, and things will happen, and that'll all work out.
Steph and then John, the coaches left.
When we spoke this time last year, you had all 5, starters coming back, and everyone was talking about kind of the jump the team would make with that. I guess this year, when you've got, a lot of new faces, a lot of moving parts, how do you kind of go about, trying to establish culture, establish expectations when there are so many new pieces and maybe not as many familiar faces as, you had last year?
Yeah, it's definitely different this year. Yesterday was our first day on the floor. That was our first day that we chose for our 8 weeks to work out our guys, with the NCAA limitations. And you used to talk about the night before official practice being, the night before Christmas, right? But to be honest with you, like, it feels, for me anyway, like 2 nights ago was that night, because you can practice so much more now leading up to the first official that you know who you got, right? So now with access to them in the summer, getting on the floor for the first time as, you're their coach and they're Bulldogs, and, here's our team. It's exhilarating to get out there and see, how they move, in person, to watch them go through the drills that we're teaching them. So it's a lot different, because like you mentioned, the year before we had more main guys, if you will. We got plenty of guys returning this year, but not as many starters or full rotation guys as maybe we did a year ago. So we have more new players that are going to be vying for, those roles.